Hey, everybody. I'm here with a customer of ours once again for our customer success podcast show named Tracie. Thank you, Tracie, for doing this.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Well, we both, all we established so far is that we both work from home. Clearly, I do quite a lot. And so does Tracie. And I was explaining to Tracie, look, we're just going to hit record and start chatting. This has become my new favorite thing to do. Like the most favorite thing I do is talk to customers who reach out to us. We did not reach out to them, and they decided to post. Most people, and I'm sure you might have done this too, Tracie. You just post like kind of unsolicited. You post your experience, and then we see that, and we ask you if you'd appear on the show. Is that what happened with you?
Yes, that's exactly what happened.
Okay, great. Well, why don't we do this? What we like to do is talk about pre Gussy's gut and post Gussy's gut. So, why don't you tell us what your dog or dogs were like before Gussy's gut, and then we'll go into what happened.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I adopted a dog recently, and his name's Buck. And this sweet, poor dog came right off the streets of Baja, Mexico. And after in 2023, when I lost all my seniors who were very holistically managed their whole lives, I got him. And as you can imagine, coming off the streets of Mexico, his entire constitution was a mess. And, exterior, interior, I had to get this dog back to health. When I first got him, his eyes were swollen. He had terrible allergies. He, no solid poops, no, just terrible stools. I mean, God only knows what the poor guy was eating off the streets, probably just stuff that was thrown to him. So I got him and said, okay, we're going to make a plan like your predecessors. We're going to get you on a raw diet and get you back to gut health. So put him on a raw diet. He is a lab and a golden mix from what we can guess. So I'm guessing the golden in there kind of threw me into a loop for what I had known with, straight Labradors.
Yeah.
And I guess I got lucky with my labs. They never had any kind of issues. So that was my first foray into, okay, we got some golden allergies and stuff going on here. He got healthy with the raw diet, but still was having allergy issues, scratching, itching, licking the paws, all that fun stuff. And then, not to be gross, but we also had, again, first for me, anal gland problems. So, I had to like throw the whole entire toolbox of what I knew at this probiotics, kefir, um, you know, all of the slippery elm, everything that I knew uh, would throw at him. And it got better. But we were still having some problems with that last problem I mentioned, and we are a certified therapy dog team, so that
Wow.
really impacted our ability to go on visits. So
Right.
that's when I came across the Gussy's gut, and I'm like, well, we've tried what I had in my toolbox. Can't hurt to try something additional. And within 6 weeks, everything cleared up.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's I think people. I had somebody critique my last customer video because I was saying like it's unusual and I like to under promise and over deliver. It's
Yep.
unusual to get quick results even in a month. 6 weeks is even quick, especially if you would have told me you had a dog from Baja that lived all of his life probably on the street. We don't know, but we have to assume.
Yep.
I would have said you got to give this 6 months. Like, don't expect us to work for 6 months. And it's just because I like to under promise and over deliver. I don't want somebody having to purchase our product and they quit too soon. And that's really what it came down to. They quit too soon. Meanwhile, they feel like they've wasted their money. And we were maybe this close or maybe this close, you know? And so that's why that's why I quote we always quote 90 days, and we feel like across the board that's a good number. But we do have customers that get these great. Usually, it's the customers that are raving online that they get these like little mini miracles that
Yes.
happen. So that's great. So how old do we think he is?
We think he is 5. And so he's, getting to that middle age point where, his body's probably going to start to change from his younger days. And so that was another factor into my decision of trying to, maybe move away, not move away, but move with the raw diet into a supplement that was going to carry him through his middle age and then into his senior years as well.
Yeah. And all these weird things that manifest, the paws and the scratching and even the eyes and all these things that, the thing I've learned over like, you know, I've had my, I've had my own dog and really got really thrust into all of this natural world of veterinary medicine. Like, so it's 99, so a little over 25 years ago.
Hmm.
Um, what you end up coming to find out is it really there's like big levers that you can move up and down, and then there's these little dials. And the big levers, and one of the main reasons I'm in this business as created this company, is the gut is a huge lever for so many things. So we know there's the skin gut axis. Most people have heard of that. Most people have heard of the gut brain axis. And the axis is, and there's actually a lung gut axis, believe it or not. But the skin is a huge, it tells a story. It's like literally reading a palm. It tells a story of where the gut can be. And you can, just like there are vets that are very trained and experienced in looking at eyes and tongue and all that. And some vets are not. Um,
Hmm.
they're looking for the usual hydration and stuff like that. But there are others that look at eyes and they almost can tell you exactly what's going on. Pinpoint it. But I encourage people to, it sounds like that's what you've done. And I congratulate you on that. I encourage people to think of the big levers in their pet's health. And one of them is absolutely food. It's probably the biggest lever.
Yep.
And because ours is a food, we have to call it legally a supplement. Most people don't understand this. We call it a supplement because in and of itself, it does not sustain life. In other words, you can't just feed our product and it sustains life. It's not a
Right.
food legally. That's the legal definition of a food versus a supplement. So we're a food-based supplement, 100% food, not to be confused with the main diet, that sustains life, which is, whether it's raw or kibble or whatever it is you're feeding, wet, et cetera.
Yeah.
So, okay. So now after 6 weeks, can you just walk us through, like, it didn't all just disappear, I'm sure. So can you walk us through what happened?
Yeah, it started with the paw licking, and again, that the anal gland issues were a little tougher to tackle, and I was really, getting nervous because I had never been through that with my other Labradors, and it was kind of uncharted territory for me. But I was happy to see he was just more comfortable in his own skin, and then okay,
Literally.
maybe the AG stuff was just his breed, his mix. I don't know. So that was just kind of icing on top of the cake that was able to be solved. But it was just nice to see within that 6 weeks that this dog was he was happier. His whole entire demeanor changed. You could tell that he's not the most active dog. He's a little bit lazy, but he would have these jumps across the living room that I had never witnessed before. And so it's that whole thing of, you can just tell they're feeling better from
Yeah.
when you got them to what you tried and what you again threw your toolbox at. But um there's just, and this is again my first foray into the fermented supplement or the fermented food, where I really could see a difference.
Yeah.
And, the probiotics, I was never convinced that they would actually survive the gut, but I was still going to try. And then this is just, I know he's absorbing. I know he feels good. I know he's getting what he needs from this supplement.
Yeah. I mean, you hit the nail on the head, absorbing. And all we do is accelerate the absorption rate because we can deliver a multiple depending on the plant, the herb, grass, whatever it is we're fermenting. You can get 3 to 30 time multiple. It's like at this point, it doesn't even matter what it is. There's a multiple, and so you don't have to like go down a list. And the only way you would know is if you did blood tests after every single, like you ate a raw carrot and then you did blood tests and then you ate, maybe you did that for a week and then you measure beta carotene levels in the blood. Let's just use that as a simple example. And then you had a fermented carrot, then you measured, and then you say, okay, well, this particular dog is getting a, 3x absorption rate. But that doesn't really matter because then you've got another dog who's got maybe a stronger gut or genetically is very different, epigenetically is different, and they're getting a 5x. And they're getting a 6x. So it gets very crazy quickly. But the bottom line is there's a multiple. So it's saving time in like the thing you're feeding is getting in there better and it's doing its nutritional job, so I appreciate you saying that. And then the other thing that you mentioned is anal glands. So I had a dog that I had a really brilliant vet for this dog, Owen, yellow lab.
Aw.
And yellow labs are kind of built in the Labrador world, like the Goldens. So they have the allergies and the this and the that, and yeasty. A lot of times genetically, and it's the genetic selection. It's a long story. Not every lab has it, but a lot of them do. Yellow labs, and he was the sweetest, best dog, and you just felt so bad for him because your heart would break because
Yes.
no matter what I did for this dog, he just had stuff and it was all nice and managed, but he still had some stuff. And, you'd look at him sometime in the day and he'd do that like pre-sneezing squint, like he's going to sneeze, and you're like, oh my gosh, you poor guy, you have, you're suffering from some kind of allergy,
Yes.
I remember vividly, but he had anal gland issues. And what the vet told me is his anal glands were just genetics were farther in than many other dogs. So they would express, meaning they would relieve or, they would express themselves more naturally when they're farther out, when there's a bowel movement. And when they're farther in, they don't. Now, the other thing that I'll say about anal gland issues are they're glands. So they secrete it's just like you've got oil glands. Well, you can have a dog that's say deficient and I don't even want to say like there's many things like that are nutritional. Let's take one. Okay. Zinc. I'm not telling people to go out and get zinc. Okay. Don't, that's not the thing. That's not the cure for anal glands. Okay. But zinc can be one thing that causes like sebaceous oil glands to overgrow, and then you've got growths.
Yep.
And so if you correct the deficiencies, you don't even have to have balance. If you just correct the deficiencies, these things calm down, they chill out. And the same with the anal glands. So they stop producing too much. Because I think about it, it's like a traffic jam. You're producing too much, and you have to have either them expressed. You have to have like this crazy high fiber diet, which I'm not a big fan of. Artificially high fiber, like super high fiber diet. Some people put way too much fiber in, and anyway. But that relieved also over past the 6 weeks. Or how did that?
It did. And that's funny that you were saying, because, I was, again, willing to try what I needed to try. And then at the end of the day, if this was a genetic thing, if this was a physiological issue with this sweet dog, then I would deal with it. But I was so happy to see that, yes, at the end of that 6 weeks, it was kind of everything you were saying. I do believe it was an oversecretion problem. I do believe that his what was going on in his gut was still doing what it shouldn't have been doing. And then by giving it more time, I came to realize, oh my gosh, it got fixed. This isn't genetic. This isn't something that can't be managed with diet.
Yeah. I always tell people, like, the real, this sometimes confuses people more than it helps them, but some people, they really get it. Like, dysbiosis or imbalance of the gut is called dysbiosis, and that's an more extreme version. But just let's say an imbalance of the gut is like, everything's like this. If you look at like a heart monitor, for those people just listening on the podcast, it's like the heart monitor goes up and down, right? And if balance or biosis or sorry, stasis is achieved, just balance, it would be just a straight line, like it'd be like the flat line.
Mm-hmm.
And if that's our goal, if stasis is, let's just say, is like an oversimplified goal, all the jagged lines, those are like these weird symptoms. It's like a whack-a-mole game. Like, you're dealing with paws or itching or sneezing or watery eyes or gunk in the eyes or
Yep.
bad teeth or this. I mean, it just goes on and on. And a lot of it goes back to the gut. It's just a story that you're seeing, but it's been in the works. It's been in the making for months and months and months, maybe years, and probably with your dog, years.
Yeah.
And so if you're giving that time to achieve that more flat, stasis, then like all these crazy weird things, like you're just, and if you ask 5-10 of the best vets in the world, they give you their hypothesis or their just guess. I say, I don't know. Like, the best vets in the world always go, I don't know. It just, you did the right thing and the right thing worked out. And that's the honest truth. That's what we say. We say, hey, look, all we focus on, we don't focus on like selling you a miracle. We never say, like, you'll never find anything from us that says, we'll stop your itchy paws. We'll stop this. We'll do this. We'll do this. What we say is, like, we want to be a part of your toolkit, as you've nicely put, that can move that bigger lever of the gut health. And then we will see, it will reveal itself, what the gut has caused, and therefore what is being resolved. Because we always tell people say, well, I mean, we get this the most, probably, this question, like, will this help my blank? Will this help my fill in the blank? And we go, don't know. If it's caused from the gut, possibly. And that's all we can say. And then we say, just give us a fair shake, give us 90 days, because these things didn't happen overnight and they're not going to be resolved overnight.
Yes. I mean, I 1,000,000% agree with that. And I think sometimes with our pets, whether we don't, we're so busy, we don't have time to deal with some of these issues, or we just hate to see them suffering or uncomfortable. I think as a society, sometimes we just want a quick fix and we just want it to be done and solved. But I personally believe that, like you said, this poor dog's gut, it needed time, and there is no quick fix for some of these issues. And the paws and the licking and the itchiness, easier solved than the anal glands. But I bought the trial, and right when the trial was done, I saw the improvement, and then I was like, okay, we got to stay on this. And I just think that sometimes we just have to stay the course.
Yeah, that's
to
great.
get their gut back.
Well, I really appreciate you, and your articulation of what happened is just great. I think it's going to help a lot of people. So thank you so much for taking the time with us. We're at almost 20 minutes. Thank you all for watching and listening. And Tracie, we look forward to continuing to hear some more success stories from you. Who knows?
Absolutely. Thank you. And thank you for a great product.
Oh, thanks. Okay. Bye, everybody.